Right now this morning, the Wisconsin Supreme Court race is shattering election records. Ahead, why this election could remake Wisconsin politics for years to come. And could your next car cost you more? How Trump's latest tariff threats are changing what businesses buy and sell.
About some early morning light rainfall right now moving through the region. Then warmer conditions on the way as we get through today and tomorrow. More about that in a moment.
This is News 8 Now this morning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Teleprompter is moving so fast right now. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alexandra Carter.
And I'm Art Jarrett.
There were some damp spots on the roads this morning when I was driving. Nothing too serious, though.
Yeah, damp is a perfect way to describe it as you get into it. Why? Because we're starting to warm up, and the surface is still also warming up as well. Not a lot of rainfall in the forecast as well with that. So, again, we've been looking at maybe a quarter of an inch or less to down to a trace or not any at all. As that happens, we're also seeing this rainfall here. It was looking pretty good over the last couple of days. Even yesterday kind of looked more promising. You're even trying to get a little light rain and snow mix up by Eau Claire, but for now it looks like it may not be hitting the ground. You're also seeing some now a little bit of light potential for snow kind of moving in the picture as well. But we'll keep an eye on this as we finish out, as most of this starts to track a little bit more so over the Mississippi River from west to east, and we'll probably get some of that as we finish out going into the sunrise time. Current temperatures for you right now holding on to those 20s, some 40s in the picture, some 30s in the picture as well. We'll continue to warm you up back to seasonally mild conditions today. There's a look at the rainfall potential. It looks a little bit more meager than it did yesterday. At least we had some real numbers on the board. We'll also get into it as we finish out this morning. You can see it kind of kicking out by the time we get through the 10 o'clock hour. We're done clearing out the skies possibly to at least partly cloudy for a while. Add those clouds back in as we go into the evening hours, and then bam, right back into some rain and snow, possibly I should say storm activity into the overnight hours. Back to you.
Thank you, Art. The Minnesota man accused in a 50-year-old murder case faces sentencing today. 84-year-old John Miller will be sentenced for allegedly killing Mary Shalais in 1974. His hearing is scheduled for 2 p.m. A New Richmond man pleaded not guilty to first-degree intentional homicide. 70-year-old Gordon Laxo is accused of killing his wife and hiding her body in rural Polk County. A status conference is set for April 16th. A La Crosse man faces child pornography charges as a persistent repeater. Jonathan Statz is charged with 10 counts of possession of child pornography. He was arrested yesterday during a probation meeting after multiple cyber tips linked him to inappropriate messages on Snapchat. This follows previous arrests in 2021 for child pornography and 2023 for child trafficking. Investigators seized a tablet with over 1,000 images of child sexual abuse material. The former GOP senator charged with soliciting a minor will be released to a halfway house despite prosecutors' previous attempts to block that release. Justin Eichhorn was arrested March 17th after allegedly attempting to meet an undercover officer posing as a teenage girl. He faces a felony charge of soliciting a minor for prostitution. A special election will fill his state Senate seat April 29th. A march took over parts of UW-La Crosse yesterday. The Women for Women rally put a spotlight on campus safety and more. News 8 Now's Grace Monk reports.
UWL students are speaking up for women's rights and safety on campus.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
The rally focused on protecting equality in UWL's Race, Gender, and Sexuality department.
It's a really big, important part of campus to create inclusivity.
Everyone here is very focused on just like love. There's no room for hate at this campus.
As well as keeping women safe from sexual violence.
With the depletion of the Department of Education, or the proposed depletion, that comes with also getting rid of Title IX, which protects women on campus who have been assaulted or harassed.
My choice!
In February, 2 UWL students were charged with sexually assaulting women on campus.
I think a lot of people feel unsafe on campus right now. I think especially with underclassmen and even upperclassmen, just knowing that you're in the same dorm as some type of the behaviors that is happening is extremely uncomfortable.
Organizers hope the school will continue to protect women that live both on and off campus.
It's hard to speak out, and I think having that Title IX protection here on campus makes them more comfortable.
Just even going to a school where you know that stuff is happening like right next door, that's unacceptable.
Grace Monk, News 8 Now this morning.
President Trump is pivoting to new automobile tariffs amid new Republican scrutiny over the use of the non-government app Signal to discuss military plans. A top House Republican is now pushing for an investigation as President Trump says he'll ask the defense secretary to review what information should be deemed classified. CBS News' Jared Hill reports.
I think it's all a witch hunt.
President Donald Trump continued to downplay the growing concerns stemming from the Atlantic's editor Jeffrey Goldberg being mistakenly added to a group chat on Signal, where top Trump officials discussed sensitive military operations.
Nobody's texting war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth Wednesday after Goldberg published more messages from the chat, including some where Hegseth detailed the specific times F-18 fighter jets would launch to strike a target terrorist. Less than 3 hours later, Hegseth wrote sea-based Tomahawks would be launched.
They're saying nothing happened. I'm saying that this represents a serious breach in national security.
CBS News has learned the top Democrat and Republican on the Senate Armed Services Committee are pushing for a classified briefing and an expedited report from the Inspector General on the incident. Meanwhile, President Trump is turning up the heat on trade. Yesterday, he announced a new 25% tariff on all imported automobiles starting April 2nd.
This is the beginning of Liberation Day in America.
The White House claims the new tariffs will lead to $100 billion in revenue and push companies to make more cars in the U.S. But economists say they could add thousands of dollars to the price of a new car.
And President Trump has now issued at least 104 executive orders. That is well ahead of his 100th day in office. It beats a record held by former President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who signed 99 orders before his 100-day mark. Many of the president's executive orders have also faced legal challenges in the courts. The White House says President Trump is set to, you guessed it, sign more orders today. And a federal worker fired under the Trump administration has her job back this morning. Haley Menatowski, who was pregnant when fired during Trump layoffs, worked for the U.S. Forest Service in Ashland. 2 weeks ago, a U.S. district judge ordered the reinstatement of more than 16,000 federal employees, ruling the mass firings were likely unlawful. Small communities like Fairchild are taking public safety into their own hands. Tonight at 6:30 at the community center, residents can learn about the upcoming referendum to add a full-time police officer. The vote would increase the tax levy to fund a new position. Voters will make their decision at the polls on April 1st. Lacrosse voters can cast their ballots at City Hall from 8:30 to 4 or the Moob Cultural and Community Agency from 10 to 2. Eau Claire residents can vote at City Hall from 9 to 4. Northern Wisconsin was the backdrop for a key campaign stop in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. Brad Schimmel campaigned with former Governor Scott Walker, who urged voters to look beyond party lines.
Unfortunately, Susan Crawford and her allies are trying to come in here and make this a political battle. My hope is the people of this state will cast a ballot, whether they're conservative or liberal or somewhere in between, for Brad Schimmel.
Susan Crawford also held stops in Superior, Bayfield, and Washburn counties, part of her 20-county tour across the state. And as the Supreme Court race heats up, so does the spending. News 8 Now's Allison Fergott takes a closer look at the race and how area residents are responding.
Crawford will put her political agenda ahead of your constitutional rights.
Brad Schimmel wants to make sure women don't have the right to make their own health care decisions.
As we get closer to Election Day, it's harder and harder to escape the ads.
I don't like them.
Yeah.
I think they're terrible.
It's thanks in part to campaign spending reaching new heights. In the 2023 state Supreme Court race, spending hit a record $56 million. But this election has already shattered that with $81 million.
It's quite unbelievable the amount of money, just the sheer number of dollars that are being spent.
A large chunk of that money is coming from donors who live outside Wisconsin.
Billionaires like Elon Musk, like putting their hands in the election, no.
Democrats started pouring a lot of money in. Now the Republicans try to match that.
So why all this money and why should voters care?
the outcome of this race is going to determine the ideological composition of the Supreme Court.
That could be the deciding factor in the future of abortion rights, workers' rights, and even the future of partisan politics in the state.
The court is expected to hear various cases on elections and redistricting.
But that majority could be short-lived. There's another state Supreme Court election next year. In fact, there will be one every year for the next 5 years.
Candidates need to be strategic about their resignations and do what they can to not push voters to a tipping point where they demobilize.
In terms of spending, LaPlante says after these record highs, state Supreme Court campaigns have no reason to go back.
Buckle up and prepare for this to just continue. It's going to get more emotional and more expensive.
Reporting in La Crosse, Allison Ferget, News 8 Now, This Morning.
And there have also been high levels of early voting this year, with more than 7,500 absentee ballots already returned in La Crosse County. Eau Claire County drivers, get ready for some traffic changes on Interstate 94. Westbound lanes will shift to temporary median lanes from US 53 to Mallard Road. County Road J will close at the interstate starting Monday and stay closed till July. The changes will allow crews to replace pavement and repair a bridge. Amtrak Borealis riders will face travel disruptions today. Train 1340 will be run by chartered buses due to corrosion issues found during inspections. Amtrak canceled Chicago and St. Paul lines yesterday after discovering equipment problems. Passengers can get refunds if you don't want to ride the replacement buses. Normal service is expected to resume tomorrow. The Senate is scheduled to go over the NTSB report on the Washington, D.C. collision today to determine the cause of the deadly crash involving American Airlines and an Army Black Hawk. When the plane and helicopter collided near Reagan Airport, there were no survivors among the 67 people on board. La Crescent is officially a tree city for the 7th time. The city has received the designation by the Arbor Day Foundation. To qualify, a city must maintain a tree board or department, have a community tree ordinance, and spend $2 per capita on forestry. The designation is awarded to communities that show a commitment to planting, growing, and maintaining trees.
A lot of community benefits of trees. Reduced energy costs for residents of the community, reduces stormwater pollution, increases property values, provides wildlife habitat. There's just so many benefits that trees provide to a community.
The Crescent's celebration will be April 25th in Old Hickory Park. Tomah has a new police chief. It's Assistant Police Chief Eric Peterson. The Tomah High graduate was an MP in the U.S. Army before joining Tomah PD in 2005. He's replacing the outgoing chief, Scott Holem. Peterson takes on his new role April 19th. A homegrown leader is stepping up at Bangor Elementary. Dave Lewick moving from academic assistant to principal this summer. Nominated as a top-notch teacher last year, he says he's honored to lead the school where his own daughters have thrived. UW-Eau Claire has a new interim chancellor. It's Michael Carney. He is the current interim provost and vice chancellor of academic affairs. Current chancellor Jim Schmidt is leaving to become the president of James Madison University. The time now is 6:13. Still ahead on your morning news, Wisconsinites spend more on groceries than half of other states. 1 in 4 businesses have scaled back hiring due to tariffs, and copper prices are hitting record highs. And in 1 week, more tariffs are scheduled to start on new vehicles assembled outside of this country. We'll have more on the impact ahead. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. Meet the Sharktopus, a bizarre sight caught on camera in New Zealand. University researchers discovered an octopus hitching a ride on a shark's head. That's what you're seeing right there. Scientists call it one of the strangest marine encounters they have ever witnessed. And as you start to wake up this morning, leaving you, oh nice, quick wake-up call with the city that holds the record for the world's biggest soccer match. That is Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Looking beautiful there this morning. And the game, by the way, that holds the record of over 193,000 spectators. Yeah, soccer is a big deal there. Stay with us. Your morning consumer news is coming up.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota.
Love it.
Go from dreaming it to driving it today.
Right now, lease a new 2024 Tacoma TRD Sport for $359 a month. Toyota, let's go places.
To everyone who believes in tradition, come enjoy a few of ours from Wisconsin.
People in Wisconsin love a good fish fry.
Really love. And we love sharing it with guests everywhere.
At Culver's, we still batter our North Atlantic cod by hand to order.
And we cook it to a crispy, golden perfection just for you.
For you.
For you.
So it's crispy outside, flaky inside.
Let us take care of you.
With some homegrown traditions we were raised on.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
A criminal illegal gang member abused a child here in Wisconsin. Now, President Trump's fighting back. But a liberal judge ordered deportation flights to be turned around. We don't need another liberal judge. We need Brad Schimmel, a judge and prosecutor backed by law enforcement. Schimmel protected victims and safeguarded kids. Tough on crime, unwavering in justice. Vote Brad Schimmel on April 1st. Fair Courts America is responsible for the content of this advertising.
This is Tony, and this is Tony's Good Feet story.
I did know that back pain, foot pain come along with the job. Before my arch supports, I felt defeated. But since getting the arch supports from the Good Feet store, I'm more positive.
Clinically proven. Significant pain relief in only 4 weeks.
It's like opening up a whole new life, like sunshine coming out. I would recommend it to anyone.
Take back the life you love and book your personalized arch support fitting today.
Wisconsin, one of those places where families spend their winters among our frozen lakes and snow-covered hills. With all the fun we're having, it's easy to take for granted how we warm up, by the fire or simply adjusting our thermostat. But what if you couldn't warm up so easily? It might be simple to imagine for 60 seconds, but for many, it's a reality they can't ignore. Working families, elderly, disabled, and veterans struggling to keep their heat and power on in the dangerous cold of winter. Freezing temperatures aren't just uncomfortable for them, they can be deadly. Make a real difference by providing a hand up for a neighbor in need. No matter the amount, every dollar helps. No one deserves to suffer when we can help each other.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota.
Hey, there he is. Let's do this. Right now, you can get 1.99% APR for 72 months on a tough new Tundra. Toyota, let's go places.
Well, good morning to you. We take a look at what's happening out there right now. These will come up in just a second here. We're going to hold on to the possibility of bringing you some rain and snow in the forecast. There it is. We're holding on to the possibility of more rain cutting across the northern portion of the United States and then coming back again, switching down towards the central portion, bringing us a little light rainfall here, snow up to the north, and then, of course, increasing more of that rain and snow moving into the Gulf of Mexico with high pressure also following suit. Look at that big ridge of high pressure. Look at that. That is huge. And that's working towards us as we get into that warmer weather going into today and tomorrow. Then eventually that colder air comes in from Canada, also following with more cold air cutting across the Rockies, and that will spill into us, knocking us down to the 50s and the 40s as we finish out going into from the weekend and into Monday. How about this though? La Crosse looking at some clouds coming in to start because of the shower activity that's with us. We'll see it get down to mostly cloudy skies. Some sunshine rolls in for the afternoon. Clouds start to come back again as we go into your afternoon and late evening hours, or just say early evening hours. You've got the cloudiness with a 20% chance for rainfall, possibly maybe a little snow in that too for Eau Claire, but then we lose that, get back into cloudiness, and then some sunshine prevails for you for the better part of the day. Warmer temperatures for everybody in the forecast, 60s and 50s in the forecast for you. As we go through today, we're also looking at some breezier winds coming in for Friday, not to mention 70s, 80s, 60s, and 50s in your forecast. That's a look at that. I'll give you a little bit more when I return in just a moment. Stick around.
In your consumer news, in 1 week, tariffs are scheduled to start on new vehicles assembled outside of this country. That is under a proclamation President Trump signed yesterday. Duties on parts are set to begin later. Cox Automotive says the tariffs also could halt about 30% of North American auto production. Amy Kiley with the details.
If tariffs hold, you are going to see increases on automotive prices.
Most economists say Americans are in for sticker shock if the president follows through on newly announced auto tariffs. A proclamation he signed yesterday says they include 25% duties on imported assembled vehicles starting April 3rd. It says tariffs on parts will begin no later than May 3rd.
Americans will keep their cars longer. They'll have to. They won't be able to afford them. They'll also have a lot less choice.
Analysts say the tariffs could make it cost prohibitive to sell certain cheap imports in the U.S. They also predict price hikes on American-made cars due to the tariffs on parts. But the White House says parts that comply with the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement will get a temporary exemption. It says officials need time to implement a system for those tariffs. Anderson Economic Group predicts eventually the cost to produce a vehicle in the U.S. potentially could rise up to $12,000.
So it may fall in the first instance on the American manufacturer who buys the input, who may then pass it on to the consumer, or it is passed directly through the retail chain to the American consumer.
Economists say the advantage of tariffs is that they can help domestic manufacturers. The United Auto Workers Union president applauds Trump's plan.
You're going to see prices going down, businesses coming back to the United States so that they don't have to pay tariffs.
And Wisconsinites spend more on groceries than shoppers in 24 other states. According to Wallet Hub, a full cart goes for 2% of their monthly income. So if you make about $75,000, you're spending $126 on a single trip to the store. It does seem you can't get out of there without spending $100, doesn't it? When it comes to eggs and meat, prices here are still elevated, but the price for bakery items is on the way down. Corporate America is getting nervous about Trump's trade war. A new survey of chief financial officers revealing 25% of U.S. businesses have scaled back their hiring plans. The same percentage have cut capital spending due to tariff threats. What was once a low priority concern has now become a top worry. And copper prices are hitting record highs. Trump's trade policy is driving the spike. Economists say buyers are stockpiling the metal amid rumors of potential tariffs. Last month, Trump signed an executive order investigating national security risks from copper imports. The speculation is pushing prices to unprecedented levels. That's a look at your consumer news. We'll send it over to Art now. He's got a look at our weather.
All right, and away we go. Eventually, as we get through the forecast, as rainfall will continue to end, you're looking at some light rainfall, I should say snow in the forecast here as well. That may not be hitting the ground. It's in the upper atmosphere, but we're still looking at it, though. It's there. And we're having more of this rain try to get across the Mississippi here. It's kind of slowly but surely tracking over as clouds are starting to thin out as you get over by Austin, working its way here locally. We get into the 7 o'clock hour. There's that look at that rain and snow potential in the forecast from Eau Claire extending all the way down to Vogue Field. Wisconsin Rapids in that as well. Beaver Dam, you're in that too. Holding on the potential for more rainfall as well, kind of cutting across. You see it all kind of tracking over to the east. By the time it gets in the 10 o'clock hour, unfortunately, it's done. But we may have some more coming back later on. Most of that's going to try to come back from the south towards Prairie du Chien, and that's the thing that's going to carry over into tonight with the possibility of a thunderstorm or two. We see it track out going into the midnight hour, and then we take a look at this. We've got some light cloud cover kind of sneaking up by Prairie du Chien, and that's where the shower activity comes in the process there, working into the forecast as you go right up into Viroqua as well, finishing out by Wisconsin Dells and kicking out. More clouds come up to the north again with a little mix of rain and snow well up to the north there. In fact, we'll see that continue on, getting in the possibility of some rain and snow coming in for Saturday. It is light to moderate. It is only at the 1 o'clock hour, and this carries a potential for at least a marginal risk for severe weather. And I'm talking about some breezy winds in the forecast as well, maybe some small hail associated with that as well. And of course, that's going to end as we finish out by about the 3 o'clock hour or so. And that rainfall that we're supposed to be picking up right now, it's diminishing, so it looks like it's pretty much done. But this model shows you for tomorrow what we could have after midnight tonight going into tomorrow. You see it by 6 a.m., showers coming in. And that continues about a 30% chance carrying over for Eau Claire to pick some of that up as well, increasing the clouds after midnight, putting in that snow, or I should say rainfall in the forecast with snow coming in later on that night going into Saturday. We're also holding on to high pressure building, pushing in more of that warmth force for tomorrow. Then by the weekend, we drop it all back down. Temperatures for Saturday, well, you're going to be looking at temperatures in the 40s. That's how much we're dropping it down after we are in the 70s and 80s for our forecast. Rain and snow comes back, and you can see it here up to the north, a mix of that with rainfall getting all the way down to us. By the time we get in the 7 o'clock time slot in the evening, we're in the rain and snow mix as well, and then possibly continuing all that with that low pressure system churning right over the top of us and then carrying out and out of the area as we go into Monday, with more of that coming back Monday night going into Tuesday as well. A lot of rainfall picking up after the weekend, carrying all the way into next week as well. My goodness, all the way past midweek into a 60 to 30% chance. Be safe out there. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Art. Coming up, it's not your grandparents' hobby anymore. How young birders are taking flight. We'll explain.
Coming up next in the Blitz, the Bucks looking for a shorthanded win against one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Plus, it's opening day in the MLB. What to expect for the Brewers opener against the Yankees. Keep it right here.
Breaking news tonight, President Donald Trump is officially weighing in.
Trump has endorsed Brad Schimmel in the race for Wisconsin Supreme Court. Trump called the election, quote, very important.
And Trump's right. If we elect Susan Crawford to the Supreme Court, none of the good that he's trying to do nationally will trickle down to Wisconsin. I think the stakes have never been higher.
That's Trump's message to Wisconsin. This election is so important. Please get out and vote for Wisconsin's Brad Schimmel.
The Silverado Trail Boss. And a little work. And a little play. And a truck that says no to nothing. And Chevrolet.
It's Chevy Truck Month. Well-qualified buyers can get 2.9% financing for 72 months on this Silverado. Or get $43.50 total value. Plus, current Chevy owners can get $4,000 total cash allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle.
The new Nacho Taco Bravo from Taco John's. Our famous beef crispy taco wrapped in a soft tortilla, all held together by refried beans and warm nacho cheese. This is Nacho Average Taco. Get two for just $6 only at Taco John's.
We are all here to support one another.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Hi, Greg.
I bought our vacuum at a box store. I was shopping for groceries and I came out with a vacuum.
I did the same. I was shopping for clothes.
Candles.
Kitty litter.
Hey group, we're not here to judge. We all made the same mistake before deciding to go to A1 Vacuum to make the right purchase. I'm sorry.
A1 Kitty litter.
Our business is picking up.
In 1925, a new furniture store opened its doors in Fountain, Minnesota. The business was called the Fountain Furniture Company. Today, 100 years and 4 generations later, we're Drury's, where you'll find a focus on principles that have given us staying power. Handle quality furniture, maintain a professional staff, and a commitment to customer service. We invite you to stop in and find out for yourself how this big store in a tiny town has lasted. Drury's in Fountain, Minnesota, family owned for 100 years.
This is you, one place to the next. One more thing to check off the list. But stopping for 30 minutes? Well, that's just not an option. So that's why there's this, the News 8000 app. All your local news, plus a little bit beyond. So take a break when you want to.
News 8 Now Sports.
Welcome to the Blitz. Well, today marks the start of the Major League Baseball season for the Brewers. First time since 1979 that the crew will be opening up their season against the New York Yankees. Spring training wrapped up earlier this week, and all systems are a go for Game 1 of 162 to Milwaukee. New York, of course, coming off that World Series loss to the Dodgers in 5 games, while the Brewers season ended at the hands of the Mets in the wild card round. Starting pitching matchup featuring Freddie Peralta against Carlos Rodon. And as a reminder, it's the home opener for the UWL baseball team today, as the previously scheduled Saturday-Sunday doubleheader moved up due to weather. Eagles are 9-2 on the season so far, ranked 13th in Division III. They're taking on Stout with first pitch coming at 1 from Copeland. The association, no Giannis, no Dame last night for the Bucks against the Nuggets. Big first half for Brook Lopez. Here's 3 of his 20 points before halftime as that one goes. Second quarter, Milwaukee creeping closer thanks in part to the hot shooting of A.J. Green. He had 3 threes in the quarter. And a couple minutes later, wide open lane for Kevin Porter Jr. He throws it down with authority. It was a great showing for Nikola Jokic, and that's pretty normal for him. Nice pass right there to Aaron Gordon. Good effort by the Bucks, but they end their Western Conference road trip at 2-4 as they fall to the Nuggets 127-117. That'll do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
This Thursday, one day only, earn a 30-cent Hy-Vee fuel saver for every $60. That's a 30-cent fuel saver for every $60 you spend in-store and online. Thursday only, and only at Hy-Vee.
Growing up in Chippewa Falls, we had some tough times. My little sister was born with special needs, so I became her protector. And when my dad was laid off, we all had to step up. Along the way, I learned a lot about hard work, common sense, and most of all, what it means to look out for people. I'm Susan Crawford, and looking out for people is why I became a prosecutor and a judge. And I'm asking for your vote.
Get solar and get saving with Olson Solar Energy.
The biggest thing I want to get across to people, whether it's via email or voicemail or text, is we are a local Wisconsin, family-owned, turnkey solar company.
We have project managers that will walk you through the process, keep you informed along the way, and make sure that the communication is the best that it can be.
All the financial benefits are awesome. And then on top of that, it's green energy. How can you lose?
It's tournament time at Osseo Automotive, and the savings are giant.
And so is the selection.
Get a giant $18,000 off a new 2024 Ford Bronco Raptor with 4 to choose from. Or get $18,000 off a new 2023 Ford Transit Cargo Van.
You'll never see anything this big again.
The giant tournament sale is going on now at Osseo Ford, Nelson Gunderson Chevrolet, Fountain City Ford, and Rudy's in Whitehall.
Breaking news tonight, President Donald Trump is officially weighing in. Trump has endorsed Brad Schimmel in the race for Wisconsin Supreme Court. Trump called the election, quote, very important.
And Trump's right.
If we elect Susan Crawford to the Supreme Court, none of the good that he's trying to do nationally will trickle down to Wisconsin. I think the stakes have never been higher.
That's Trump's message to Wisconsin. This election is so important. Please get out and vote for Wisconsin's Brad Schimmel.
It's time to gear up for the season at Blaine's Farm and Fleet, your spring weather headquarters. Rain or shine, we've got the value you need to get your spring projects underway. Right now, select Miracle Grow Potting Mix $14.99, $12.99 for rewards members. Estate Premium 4-in-1 Lawn Treatment $49.99. And 20-pound bags of Blaine's Black Oil Sunflower Seed just $9.99 for rewards members. In-store or online, find the value you need to do things your way. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
This Thursday, one day only, earn a 30-cent Hy-Vee fuel saver for every $60. That's a 30-cent fuel saver for every $60 you spend in-store and online. Thursday only, and only at Hy-Vee.
First Warn Weather on News 8 Now. The news continues on News 8 Now. Expect more.
In your morning medical news, as the United States deals with one of the largest measles outbreaks in the past decade, new research shows a concerning trend regarding childhood vaccination rates after the COVID-19 pandemic. Bradley Blackburn has more.
More cases of measles in Texas and New Mexico. The largest outbreak in the country remains in Texas, where more than 325 cases have been reported since January. One child has died.
Unfortunately, post-pandemic, rates of childhood vaccination have not bounced back.
The measles is among the highly contagious diseases that can be prevented with the vaccine. Overall, vaccinations among children declined during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, new research in pediatrics shows immunization rates for some illnesses still remain lower than pre-pandemic levels.
What we saw in this study, about 400,000 or so babies, looking at their vaccination rates by age 5 months, those have declined over the course of the pandemic from about 88% coverage down to 81% coverage by 2023. And by 12 months of age, these kids had still not caught up.
The study focused on the rotavirus vaccine, diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis or whooping cough vaccine, and the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder.
We're concerned in particular about certain groups that are lagging behind, including babies of color, people who are low income and on Medicaid, and families that may not speak English as a first language. This is an issue because even tiny dips in vaccination rates can leave communities susceptible to outbreaks.
Dr. Gounder reminds for measles, 95% of the community needs to be immune to prevent an outbreak. Even a 1 or 2% drop can lead to widespread cases.
The U.S. confirmed at least a dozen deaths from whooping cough last year, according to the CDC, the most deaths from the bacterial infection since 2017. The Trump administration is set to cut $11.4 billion in COVID-era funding from local health departments. That money covered things like vaccines, testing, and infectious disease prevention. Minnesota's health commissioner calling the move sudden and unexpected, impacting $226 million in grants. It comes as the CDC reports an average of 458 Americans still die weekly from COVID. Many of us have been there. Painful burning sensation after eating. GERD, short for gastroesophageal reflux disease, is better known as acid reflux. It is a chronic condition that affects about 20% of Americans. The most common culprits are caffeine, alcohol, and fatty foods.
Bottom line here, talk to your healthcare provider. This is tricky to know when to get an upper endoscopy, when you actually look to see what's going on. It can be some serious stuff, or most commonly, it's something that can be treated with medication, diet, and weight loss.
To prevent acid reflux, experts say avoid trigger foods like chocolate, mint, and spicy foods. Don't eat in the hours leading up to bedtime. Take an antacid and elevate your head in bed. The city of La Crosse looking to help homeowners out, offering paint and fix-up grants. You can get up to $1,000 toward home improvement. Things like paint and stain. The money is given out on a first-come, first-served basis. We'll have a link to see if you can qualify online. And Habitat for Humanity wants to help you stay warm and save money. Tonight at the La Crosse Library, experts will share energy assistance and home repair programs. The free expo runs from 4 to 6:30. Families gathered around the fire for story time at the Nature Place yesterday. The series is bringing the community together before the summer. Author Delana Leon showcased her book theme, which covers the change of the seasons.
When you're reading a story and then the kids start inching closer and closer, wanting to know what the next page is going to be about. So I think that's a major part of kind of what this series is meant to do, is just to elicit those exciting emotions about nature and stories and our storytelling.
The event was free and families were able to enjoy a drink and a snack. The search continues for 2 river otters on the run near Green Bay. Louie and Ophelia escaped during a winter storm last week. They're proving hard to catch. The new zoo has spotted at least 1 otter multiple times, but raccoons are interfering with capture. Now the zoo is using raccoon-proof traps in hopes of bringing the otters home. Bird watching isn't just for older folks anymore. People of all ages hatched the hobby during the pandemic. Christian Benavides introduces us to a young birder who's helping other kids train their eyes on the skies.
Yeah, the blue-winged teals, they're basically modeled.
15-year-old Sophia Hackman may not look like a typical birder, but she's part of a growing number of young people who during the pandemic found their way outside through bird watching.
There's millions of bird species out there, so there's never-ending achievements.
Hackman heads up the Minnesota chapter of the Florida Young Birders Club, organizing bird walks across Florida's west coast.
It's very, very exciting. Really, birding, it's a lot about luck. Today was very lucky. We got more species than normal, 3 birds that I don't normally see here. To share that excitement with other people, it's a lot of fun.
While most bird watchers in the U.S., some 77 million, are age 45 and older, younger people are taking up the hobby.
I definitely think COVID had a lot to do with that. Especially young families, you had to get out of your house or everybody was going to go crazy.
A national survey by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service found the number of 16 and 17-year-olds observing wildlife near their home jumped from 1 million in 2016 to more than 3 million in 2022.
This is a short-tailed hawk.
15-year-old bird watcher Roland Bendever usually joins in on the walks with his camera.
Getting the shot in the camera, there is nothing better than knowing that you nailed a photo.
Group bird walks take place with parents not far behind, engaging kids as young as 9-year-old Ari Bendever.
I feel like it's really fun to draw birds.
A hobby taking flight with a new generation.
Other character-building benefits to bird watching, practicing your patience and determination. They should come check out our eagles on the river here. We'll send it over to Art now. He's got a look at our morning commute forecast.
All right, and away we go. We are holding on to the possibility of a little light rainfall in the forecast here. It is slowly but surely continuing to track a little bit more so across the river from west to east, and so that may give a little potential for us to get back into the game as far as that rain is concerned. Right now, temperatures in the 20s, some 40s, some 30s mixed in there, so we're not going to see a lot of snow associated with that, but you can see there's some kind of moving along the train where there's a little bit of 30s in the forecast there down to at least freezing. You'll hold on to that. As you can see it here coming in from overnight last night all the way into about 10 o'clock this morning. You're seeing the rainfall potential. Doesn't look great, but it looks better than it did just about half an hour ago. We'll go right back into the rain and snow. You can see this ending by the time we get around the 9 o'clock hour, 10 o'clock hour. We'll see this continue to take us into decreasing clouds from partly to mostly cloudy skies going back into the afternoon. Then eventually we'll finish out. You get mostly cloudy skies coming back again, holding on to some clouds coming back all the way up to cloudiness and holding on to maybe a thunderstorm or two rumbling around just around Prairie du Chien into the southern portion of our area. You see it by Dubuque as well. Then that ends out. We have a little extra more coming back again as we finish out into the near sunrise time with some of that continuing over by Madison if you're going in that direction. We also have a low risk for severe weather as we get into today into Friday morning, and that includes that. But once we get into the afternoon and the evening hours, you're seeing more snow and rainfall potentially coming back again. That puts us in a marginal risk for severe weather going into Friday night and into Saturday. That's a look at your forecast. Hey, Miley Cyrus has announced a new upcoming album. We'll have more on her 9th studio album, Something Beautiful, after the break.
If you want them to be safe, don't vote for him. When this man sexually assaulted a 10-year-old girl, Brad Schimmel let him off easy, calling it a one-time thing. When this man was caught with child porn, Schimmel gave him a plea deal after the man's lawyer gave Schimmel $5 grand. And when this man sexually assaulted 2 underage girls, Schimmel blamed the girls. Brad Schimmel won't protect your kids, but you can with your vote.
These are real people seeking solutions to real pain.
I have plantar fasciitis.
My feet, my knees, hips, and back.
And then they were fit with Good Feet arch supports. Clinically proven. Significant pain relief in only 4 weeks.
I'm not feeling any pain. My heel, that's where I always feel it.
Pressure off your knees?
Yeah, actually. I didn't notice any pain in my back. I feel like I could walk all day in these.
Take back the life you love and book your personalized arch support fitting today.
To everyone who believes in tradition, come enjoy a few of ours from Wisconsin.
People in Wisconsin love a good fish fry.
Really love. And we love sharing it with guests everywhere.
At Culver's, we still batter our North Atlantic cod by hand to order.
And we cook it to a crispy, golden perfection just for you.
For you.
For you. So it's crispy outside, flaky inside. Let us take care of you.
With some homegrown traditions we were raised on.
From Wisconsin with love.
Welcome to Delicious.
A criminal illegal gang member abused a child here in Wisconsin. Now, President Trump's fighting back. But a liberal judge ordered deportation flights to be turned around. We don't need another liberal judge. We need Brad Schimmel, a judge and prosecutor backed by law enforcement. Schimmel protected victims and safeguarded kids. Tough on crime, unwavering in justice. Vote Brad Schimmel on April 1st. Fair Courts America is responsible for the content of this advertising.
In
1925, a new furniture store opened its doors in Fountain, Minnesota. The business was called the Fountain Furniture Company. Today, 100 years and 4 generations later, we're Drury's, where you'll find a focus on principles that have given us staying power. Handle quality furniture, maintain a professional staff, and a commitment to customer service. We invite you to stop in and find out for yourself how this big store in a tiny town has lasted. Drury's in Fountain, Minnesota. Family owned for 100 years.
All right, let's get you back here, taking you right back out to Millston here. You're going to be seeing the possibility of some good-looking roadways out there. Nothing doing in the way of rainfall or any type of snow at all. So whatever's out there is really not falling there. We're holding on to 38 degrees. Feels like it's 37 degrees on your skin. Taking it over into areas right by, oh, that's a nice little truck right there. Taking it right back over to areas right by Onalaska, where you're looking at some good-looking skies there. The trucker kind of taking a break there. As you get into it here, the roadways are looking good. They don't look even as fairly damp as we have that starting to dry out. All right, let's get into what's happening out there for your local forecast. Let's get into it here. You can see light rainfall potentially still moving in. There's even some light snow in the upper atmosphere trying to get down to the ground. You can see it from Eau Claire stretching all the way out to Wisconsin Rapids and Wisconsin Dells, getting a mix of that, as well as Vogue Field and Black River Falls. We'll fall into the 10 o'clock hour. Most of that is done with the rainfall. We see temperatures in the 40s and pretty much widespread in the forecast. Getting into the afternoon, 1 o'clock or so, you're looking at 50s, widespread as well. Then we hold on to some clouds coming back again to partly cloudy skies. We'll eventually see temperatures from at least 54 to about, say, around 53, 52 degrees, possibly to finish out the day. Then we clear out the skies as we get in the midnight hour. Address your eyes down to the south, where you're seeing a little bit of light shower activity. Possibly some those showers could have a little down to the south. They have a little bit of kick to them down there with thunderstorm activity, but that's going to get out of the way. Going into Friday, 4 o'clock, you're seeing drier conditions. Highs around 42 to about 77 degrees out there. We'll hold on to conditions. You can see 79 for Winona, and then getting down to La Crosse at 78 degrees. Viroqua about 57, and Eau Claire about, say, 58, 59 degrees there as well. Holding on to, again, temperatures will start to fall again, holding on to the midnight hour, where you're seeing, well, that area of high pressure that's been building pretty much across the central portion and the northern portion of the area. Well, that's going to bring in warmer conditions for us going into Friday. That's where we're going to see that big heat. Then once we get into it, we'll go into Friday. The big heat's there. Once we turn all the way into Saturday, well, that colder air comes out of Canada. It continues to move over the Rockies as well, spilling pretty much all the way through Tuesday into our forecast. And that brings us some colder temperatures. We're looking at Friday's temperatures, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s in your forecast. Then we get into Saturday's highs. We drop it back down into the 40s. That's what's going to happen for you. Then we get into the next 8 days. You're seeing more rainfall on the way as we get through the weekend and into the mid portion of next week. Rain is pretty much in snow into our forecast going all the way into Thursday. Be safe out there.
In your Morning Buzz report, Miley Cyrus announcing a new album. The Grammy Award-winning singer revealed some details about her 9th album called Something Beautiful. She says it'll feature 13 original tracks. It releases May 30th. It's available for pre-order now. Some of the Avengers are assembling once again to join a now jam-packed Avengers Doomsday cast. That includes Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, Anthony Mackie as Captain America, and Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier. It's unclear which characters will officially be part of the new Avengers team, but plenty of other well-known characters will also be making appearances.
God bless the wicked. They continue to pay my bills. Some things in this life you can't get back, I reckon.
The first trailer for Rust is out more than 3 years after cinematographer Helena Hutchins was killed on the set. Her husband and son will receive profits from the film as part of a wrongful death settlement. An involuntary manslaughter case against Alec Baldwin was dismissed last year. The film premieres May 2nd.
When my wife passed and I left the Royal Marines, a lot of people would have given up on me. You gave me a job. You were patient with me. You, Carla, Jenny, you're my family.
When a family member is kidnapped, Jason Statham uncovers a massive human trafficking ring and a working man. The action flick is out tomorrow. Before we head to break, it's time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
All right, Weston is turning 8 weeks. He loves to smile, eat, and explore around the world.
If you know a special someone turning 8 weeks, 8 months, 8 years, 18, or 80, or 88, we would love to feature them.
That's right. Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website.
Stay with us. We have everything you need to know in 5 minutes or less coming up after the break.
On CBS Mornings, starting today, there could be a huge change to those monthly Social Security checks millions of Americans rely on. Jill Schlesinger explains why some checks may stop arriving. Oh no, and what you can do if yours is affected. Plus, legendary actor William Shatner will join us today. Got a few questions for him about his trip to space. Wonder if he's got any tips. Sure hope so. And first on CBS Mornings, best-selling author John Grisham joins us for a special talk at the table to discuss his new book and what makes this one different from his other bestsellers. And this guy knows how to write a bestseller. We'll see you 7 o'clock straight up.
Enjoy tax relief savings today at Home Furniture. Everything is on sale. Spend $9.99 or more and receive an extra 7% tax relief discount. Plus, take advantage of no interest for 1 year. Don't miss out. 7% tax relief savings end Thursday at Home Furniture.
Breaking news tonight, President Donald Trump is officially weighing in.
Trump has endorsed Brad Schimmel in the race for Wisconsin Supreme Court. Trump called the election, quote, very important.
And Trump's right. If we elect Susan Crawford to the Supreme Court, none of the good that he's trying to do nationally will trickle down to Wisconsin. I think the stakes have never been higher.
That's Trump's message to Wisconsin. This election is so important. Please get out and vote for Wisconsin's Brad Schimmel.
What do all these people have in common?
Larry, 35.
Tom, 40.
Mary, 63.
They all have a number.
Jerry, 18.
Linda, 50.
Don, 15.
A number of miles they're willing to go to get the right vehicle for them at the right price.
Sugar Ford on the sunny side of 61, Winona.
What's your number? Find out why it's worth the drive.
Protect your home with Tundra Seamless Gutters and Gutter Helmet from Asher Lasting Exteriors. Our highly trained technicians can install the complete water management system for your home with exclusive custom gutters and gutter helmet, guaranteeing you'll never clean your gutters again. Join us for our spring open house Friday and Saturday, April 4th and 5th at either showroom in Eau Claire or Onalaska. Enjoy super spring savings with up to 25% off your entire project. Plus, no money down, no payments, and no interest for up to 12 months at Asher Lasting Exteriors.
Brad Schimmel is lying about Susan Crawford's views on protecting kids, just like he lied about rape kits and let child molesters off easy, even blaming child victims. The truth, Susan Crawford is a former prosecutor, a common-sense judge, and a mom. And unlike Schimmel, she's always protected our kids, at school and everywhere else.
I'm Judge Susan Crawford, and I'll always follow the law and use common sense to decide what's right and what's wrong.
This is our home. Family and Children's Center has been supporting families in La Crosse and Winona for over 140 years. As time has gone by, we've expanded our services to include abuse prevention, mental health treatment, and so much more. Visit fcconline.org to see how our nearly 30 programs are strengthening communities throughout western Wisconsin and southeastern Minnesota. Better tomorrows start with us.
Right now at Home Sleep Express, get an extra 7% tax relief savings plus free delivery and setup when you spend $9.99 or more on quality mattress brands like Luxuria and Thomas Cole Sleep. Tax relief savings now at Home Sleep Express.
The First Warn Weather app. Download it today.
Welcome back at 6:52. Time for your morning news now. The Minnesota man accused in a 50-year-old murder case faces sentencing today. 84-year-old John Miller will be sentenced for allegedly killing Mary Schlase in 1974. His hearing is set for 2 p.m. A La Crosse man faces child pornography charges as a persistent repeater. Jonathan Statz is charged with 10 counts of possessing child pornography as a persistent repeater. He was arrested yesterday during a probation meeting after multiple cyber tips linked him to inappropriate messages. This follows previous arrests in 2021 and 2023. Investigators seized a tablet with over 1,000 images of child sexual abuse material. UW La Crosse students rallied for women's safety on campus. The Women for Women rally protested recent sexual assault charges and fought to protect the school's race, gender, and sexuality department. 2 students were recently charged with sexual assault on campus, leaving many feeling worried.
I think a lot of people feel unsafe on campus right now. I think especially with underclassmen and even upperclassmen, just knowing that you're in the same dorm as some type of the behaviors that is happening is extremely uncomfortable.
Organizers hope UWL will continue to protect women on and off campus. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth continuing to push back on reports of the group chat on the messaging app Signal that discussed sensitive details about a U.S. attack on Houthi rebels and inadvertently included a journalist. The Atlantic magazine released more excerpts from the chat among senior national security officials. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney spoke out after President Trump announced he's placing 25% tariffs on auto imports starting next month. Carney calling the tariffs a direct attack on his country. Northern Wisconsin was the backdrop for a key campaign stop in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. Brad Schimmel campaigned with former Governor Scott Walker, who urged voters to look beyond party lines.
Billionaires like Elon Musk like putting their hands in the election. No.
Democrats started pouring a lot of money in. Now the Republicans try to match that.
Outside money is pouring in because this race will determine the court's majority. Small communities like Fairchild are taking public safety into their own hands. Tonight at 6:30 at the community center, residents can learn about the upcoming referendum to add a full-time police officer. That would increase the tax levy to fund a new position, and voters will make that decision April 1st. Lacrosse voters can vote at City Hall from 8:30 to 4 or the Move Cultural Community Agency from 10 to 2. In Eau Claire, you can do so from 9 to 4.
All right, a quick look at your weekend rain and snow. You can see as we go into some showers first in the morning on Saturday, getting into thunderstorms. Then the evening rain and snow comes in. That's over us and continues on with a mix of rain and snow over La Crosse and Eau Claire. Then we get into Sunday at 4 o'clock. We see fairly similar conditions carrying over into Monday. You can see that going into the afternoon with more rain and snow coming back for Tuesday night, right back into Wednesday as well. That carries over with more rain and snow on the way. Then we take it into the next few days. We've got warming up coming in tomorrow, and then of course pretty much rainfall and snow all the way from Saturday into next week.
All right, Art, thank you. Well, calling all Office fans, Chili's is bringing Scranton's favorite restaurant to life. The new location pays tribute to iconic moments from the show, including the legendary Dundies episode. It opens April 7th, exactly 20 years after the original Dundies aired. Even some of the show's actors are getting in on the fun, as you can imagine they would. Yeah, that's pretty. Did you ever watch The Office, Art? Were you into that? No, you weren't?
No,
well,
I was in bed.
You were in bed. All right. Well, a lot of people will be excited about this, I think. Thank you for waking up with us this morning. We will see you back here at noon.